Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 7, The Struggle for Immortal Realm. Chapter 176, 851, The Death of Xuanhuan. 176th of Volume 7. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The martial Dao Heavenly Emperor was terrifying. He could strike down three great masters, Tang Shituo, Shui Qianshu, and Cheng Zhao, without even revealing his location, leaving them utterly defenseless. Little did they know, the demon monarch, currently hundreds of miles away, was experiencing even more complex emotions. Despite his cultivation realm, he had failed to kill three transcendents. How could this have happened when he was at his peak? The demon monarch stood atop a rocky mountain ridge, his blue robes and sash billowing in the frigid wind. He raised his right hand in a gesture resembling telekinesis. Hundreds of years ago, he had aged rapidly, losing his robust physique. His hair and beard were now snow-white, and his eyes shimmered with a five-colored radiance, resembling the ancient, gnarled cypress trees clinging to the cliffs beside him. The five-colored amber appeared in the plains below and swiftly flew toward him. Boom! An immortal gate descended from the sky, crashing into the plains between the demon monarch and the five-colored amber, unleashing wind thunder energy. Instantly, the spiritual chi within thousands of miles became chaotic, severing the demon monarch's connection to the five-colored amber. Tendrils of thunder and lightning surged toward his feet, while wind force, sharp as blades, rained down from the sky. The melodious chime of wind chimes echoed through the night sky. Zhenhai Guanwu's tall, graceful figure descended like a beam of light from the sky, landing atop the wind thunder immortal gate. She gazed across the mountain ridge at the demon monarch, her clear voice ringing out, "You Baxian, how have you become so weak? Back then, when you killed the demon emperor, you were a figure of unparalleled valor, your courage shaking the world. Now you've become a doddering old man, hiding in the shadows to prey on juniors. Where is the demon monarch's former glory?" Tang Shituo, Shui Qianshu, Cheng Dun, and other powerhouses from various major powers swiftly arrived. When they saw the mist heavenly emperor, whose peerless elegance graced the wind thunder immortal gate, they exchanged bewildered glances before erupting into wild joy. With an martial psychic emperor master overseeing the situation, much of their fear and anxiety dissipated. Xuanhuan had just landed on the ground when, boom! The thunder tribulation bracelet, a mile in diameter, spun down with devastating force. The earth buckled and shattered, sending layers of soil and entire hills flying into the sky. Wherever it passed, all life was annihilated, leaving behind scorched, pitch-black wasteland. Xuanhuan knew the martial Dao heavenly emperors were formidable, but she never imagined their power could reach such terrifying heights. How could she even consider fighting back? Just as the thunder tribulation bracelet was about to catch up to her, Yu Daojun arrived. Spreading his arms wide, along with the figures behind him, they simultaneously unleashed demonic chi and inscriptions, which coalesced into a scarlet demon city. Boom! The demon kingdom's elite warriors within the scarlet demon city flew in unison, forming a barrier to block the thunder tribulation bracelet. Whoosh! Yu Yaozi, wielding the void enlightenment sword, landed on the shattered, scorched wasteland. The thunder tribulation bracelet hovered above her, its gaze sharp as it scrutinized the figures behind Yu Daojun. "Grand Palace Master, you should return at once," Yu Daojun urged, his eyes sincere. "This is a diversion. Delay even a moment longer, and the secrets within Li Wei's body will be seized by others. You know exactly who I'm referring to." The second Palace Master had long prepared her strategy. She knelt directly within the Scarlet Demon City, tears welling in her eyes. "Senior sister. I'm sorry. I've known my mistake for years, and I've been tormented by regret ever since. I've repeated this apology in my heart countless times. My actions today are born of desperation. I never wanted to be your enemy, never. Truly. Do you think you Baxian's death throes can deceive us? Today, the Mist Master and I will personally send him to his final rest." Yu Yaozi's robes billowed as she strode forward, raising the void enlightenment sword. With a swift upward motion, she unleashed a sword chi river that cleaved through the air. Within the Scarlet Demon City, the Demon Kingdom's elite warriors simultaneously activated their blood-floating pagoda demon armor. Blood-colored runes erupted from the armor, burning with an almost incandescent light. The blood-colored Buddha infants embedded in the soft armor's abdominal cavities stirred to life, emitting piercing cries. Channeling their combined power, the warriors unleashed a synchronized palm strike, intercepting the sword chi river. The true value of the blood-floating pagoda demon armor lay not in its individual defensive capabilities, but in the combined formation it housed. In other words, these dozens of suits of armor formed an incredibly powerful formation. Activated jointly by Demon Kingdom powerhouses like Yu Daojun, Yu Daoshan, the Ku Chaozeng, and the Bloodfiend Ancestor, its destructive force was unimaginable. "Senior sister, please remember the bond we shared in our youth and spare my life." The second Palace Master pleaded, tears streaming down her face. My cultivation has been completely destroyed, and I have little time left to live. Boom. The Thunder Tribulation bracelet descended, piercing through the Scarlet Demon City and sending the Demon Kingdom forces scattering in retreat. The second Palace Master, however, was pinned in place by the laws. Yu Yaozi strode toward her, sword in hand. If you truly regretted your actions, you would have come to me long ago. Your refusal proves that even you no longer believe in the bond we once shared. Xuanhuan, it is precisely because your cultivation has been destroyed that I must kill you. Otherwise, you would forever covet my own cultivation. PFF'd. Yu Yaozi swung her sword, blood splattering across the barren land. Without a backward glance, she turned and hurried back, knowing the demon monarch's situation was the top priority. Yu Daojun, this empress will settle accounts with you later. Her cold, authoritative voice echoed across the battlefield. Behind Yu Daojun and his companions, the corpse of an ancient immortal giant wielding an axe rose from the earth. Its entire body was covered in formation glyphs, its head piercing through the clouds, towering even higher than the surrounding mountain peaks. Immortal chi and radiant light permeated the mountains, terrifying all living beings into trembling submission. Yu Daojun walked step by step to the second palace master's corpse, sighed softly, and removed his dark purple cloak to cover her. The newly ascended Martial Dao Heavenly Emperor's combat prowess was even more terrifying than he had imagined. Or perhaps, he wondered, is it because this Martial Dao Heavenly Emperor is Huang Yuyao that her power is so astonishing? Your Highness, the Mist Heavenly Emperor has arrived as well. This completely exceeds our expectations, Kuchao asked urgently. Do we engage or retreat? Their original plan had been to wait for Yu Yaozi and the demon monarch to weaken each other, then eliminate the victor. Eliminating both at once would, of course, be ideal. Yu Daojun swiftly shook off his grief, his back straightening like a spear. Zhenhai Guanwu and Huang Yuyao, one has only recently regained the Psychic Emperor realm, while the other is a newly ascended Martial Dao Heavenly Emperor. Their foundations are too shallow. Though the demon monarch's blood chi is waning and his combat power has declined, he has cultivated for thousands of years longer than them. His foundation is deep, his understanding of the laws are profound. He won't be defeated so easily. Sword Dao Imperial Court, Imperial Palace. The Sword Emperor stood with his hands clasped behind his back on a towering star-gazing platform, gazing beyond the city walls. He listened to the vast, resonant tones of the 100 Hells wind chime and sensed the surging chi in the air. Zhenhai Guanwu has arrived as well. Below the platform, a dozen of the Sword Dao Imperial Court's top experts, including the left sword attendant, right sword attendant, and old ancestor of the Bai clan, were visibly moved. Why would the Mist Heavenly Emperor risk coming here? It's far too dangerous. The answer is clear. This is a trap set by the Mist Heavenly Emperor and Yu Yaozi to lure the demon monarch out of hiding and eliminate him once and for all. Being constantly plotted against by a Martial Dao Heavenly Emperor nearing the end of his lifespan is indeed a troublesome and perilous situation. The demon monarch thought himself the cicada hunter, unaware that the mantis was already stalking him. The demon kingdom's father and son have long been estranged, consumed by mutual suspicion. They deserve this calamity. The sword cultivators below buzzed with discussion. On the star-gazing platform, the Sword Emperor shifted his gaze toward the heavenly demon empress, a puzzled expression crossing his face. The five-colored amber shattered upon impact, its fragments dissolving into nothingness. The young heavens chosen regained their mobility and swiftly surveyed their surroundings. The air hung heavy as lead, and before them, an immortal gate crackled with wind thunder energy as it descended to the ground. Atop the gate stood a red-robed woman with 100 Hells wind chime hanging from her waist. Her raven hair cascaded down like a waterfall, and her figure radiated radiant hues that stretched for miles. Even from her hazy, ethereal silhouette, one could sense her peerless immortal beauty, evoking the same breathtaking awe as Fairy Yunxiao, inspiring countless magnificent visions. It's Mist Heavenly Emperor. Tang Wanzhou murmured, her voice trembling as she recognized the extraordinary figure she had witnessed on the Cloud Heaven immortal plane. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd, and many instinctively bowed in reverence. The legend and reputation of Zhenhai Guanwu far surpassed even Yu Yaozi's. Her meteoric rise and unparalleled achievements had made her a dazzling star across Yingzhou land. Had she not vanished a millennium ago, whether the Holy Emperor would still reign as the foremost figure in southern Yingzhou would remain an open question. After all, even 1,000 years ago, she had already stood as an equal to the Calamity Crossing Temple Master. It was a true equality in cultivation strength. Whoosh! The spiritual light emanating from Zhenhai Guanwu grew increasingly intense, coalescing into the light and shadow of two divine trees, entwined and supporting each other. The night sky for thousands of miles was illuminated as if it were day. The young martial mystic cultivators present exchanged strange glances, all turning to Li Wei. The Fusong divine tree spiritual light was his signature technique. How could the mist celestial also manifest the light and shadow of the Fusong divine tree? Did Li Wei inherit the martial Dao from the Grand Palace Master and psychic power from the Mist Heavenly Emperor? This is too heaven-defying. The crowd speculated wildly about Li Wei's true origins. It couldn't be mere talent that earned him such extraordinary treatment. Li Wei, of course, knew that Zhenhai Guanwu had cultivated her psychic star again using the Fusong divine tree. This spectacular display was no surprise to him. Tang Shituo, take them far away, Zhenhai Guanwu's voice echoed through the void. As you command. Tang Shituo held genuine reverence for Zhenhai Guanwu, a sentiment that had endured for millennia. All transcendents who had witnessed the glorious era of the Lingxiao realm 8,000 years ago shared this unwavering respect. Atop the opposing mountain peak, the demon monarch's aged eyes lost their composure, surging with a malevolent aura. Gritting his teeth, he forced out the words from his throat, Zhenhai Guanwu. Why you again? Why? The Zhenhai Guanwu's pursuit 2 millennia ago had cost him at least several centuries of his lifespan. The closer he drew to his end, the more he brooded over and resented this ancient adversary. What baffled the demon monarch even more was why Zhenhai Guanwu had appeared in the Sword Dao Imperial City. It shouldn't be possible, it defied all logic. Even Yu Yaozi's risky journey to retrieve a mere immortal realm junior had seemed incomprehensible. No one could have foreseen that Zhenhai Guanwu and Li Wei shared a bond of life and death. This miscalculation was hardly surprising. Of course it's me. Zhenhai Guanwu replied with a smile. I've come to grant you a dignified departure, sparing you the fate of your father, Demon Emperor Yu Tu, who has been mocked by posterity for tens of thousands of years. As she spoke, intricate formation patterns materialized across the plains below, enveloping the demon monarch within a magnificent great formation. The ground sank and rose, shaping the formation plate's formation. The 100 Hells wind chime froze space, creating a prison of spatial barriers. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 7. The Struggle for Immortal Realm. Chapter 177, 852, Zhenhai Guanwu and Yu Yaozi. 177th of Volume 7. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The demon monarch threw his head back and roared with laughter, the sound shaking the heavens and earth. His white hair danced wildly in the night wind, crackling like strands of lightning. Zhenhai Guanwu, your arrogance knows no bounds. Do you truly believe you still possess the peak power you wielded 1,000 years ago? You know better than anyone what state you're in now. The demon monarch rekindled the long-dormant arrogance and unrestrained spirit of the martial Dao Heavenly Emperor. When you left Yingzhou a millennium ago, you died. How dare a reborn living spirit, barely 10 years returned, openly reveal yourself? Your and Huang Yuyao's foundations are shallow and unstable, you can't stop me. With these words, the demon monarch raised his arm, his 5 fingers spread wide as if to support the heavens and earth. Lightning flashed and thunder roared across the sky. The dark, heavy clouds swirled, their depths interwoven with strands of 5-colored mystical light. A crushing force of power and chi pressed down upon the land. His fingers clenched into a fist. The earth, suppressed by the wind thunder immortal gates formation, instantly exploded. Mud and stone flew in all directions as the world transformed into a molten furnace of destruction, everything dissolving into nothingness. This overwhelming power sent chills down the spines of the transcendents present, forcing them to retreat hastily. Witnessing the martial Dao Heavenly Emperor unleash his full power at close range was a rare spectacle. Participating in such a battle would be a suicidal act, requiring them to risk their lives for a slim chance of survival. Had Tang Shituo not intervened, the young martial mystic cultivators would have been reduced to bloody mist. Only Zhenhai Guanwu, an emperor psychic master, maintained her composure. Yet even she remained cautious. Her physical body and martial Dao cultivation were less than a decade old. Exposure to the power of a martial Dao Heavenly Emperor would instantly revert her to withered bones, forcing her to start anew. The 16-foot golden body required both of Yu Yaozi's Nirvana heavenly cores to manifest. Moreover, her fragile flesh and organs would suffer severe self-inflicted damage from wielding such a high-level technique. Sizzle. The demon monarch used Dao techniques to transmute the wind thunder immortal gate's unleashed power into 5-colored chi, imbuing it with the 5 elements attributes. He then redirected this transformed energy. With a thunderous roar, the wind thunder immortal gate was blasted skyward by the surging 5-colored chi. Zhenhai Guanwu stepped onto spiritual light and ascended into the sky, evading the demon monarch's attack. She then unleashed 3 immortal gates, cloud concealment, starlight, and heavenly revelation, which descended toward the ground and sky. These 4 immortal gates, seized from Yu Daojun during the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane battle, possessed extraordinary origins. This was Yu Daojun's greatest opportunity to cultivate to the top 10 among the heavenly emperors. The 5 elemental forces of the 5 elements rapidly spread across the battlefield's edge. With devastating force, vegetation dissolved into green mist, and massive boulders crumbled into flying ash. A holy dynasty transcendent, slow to retreat, found his legs rooted to the ground as if fused with the earth, unable to break free. The flesh and bones of his feet and lower legs began to decompose, transforming into iridescent dust particles that spiraled upward. His face contorted in horror as he desperately struck the ground with his palms, but he remained trapped. Cheng Dun retreated into the void, drawing a page from the earthly tome from his sleeve. The earthly tome, thin as paper, transformed into a swirling azure cloud that slashed beneath the Holy Dynasty Transcendent, severing the pull of the five elements' destructive power. The Holy Dynasty Transcendent, now legless, propelled his upper body into the air, his face drained of color. "Thank you, Master Cheng," he gasped. Cheng Dun was arguably the most formidable transcendent present, rivaling even the demon minister of the demon kingdom. Not only could he defend himself, but he also had the capacity to save others. Standing atop the earthly tome, which isolated him from the world, he roared to the crowd, "This is the demon monarch's five elements absolute domain. Retreat immediately. The further you retreat, the better." Zhenhai Guanwu's crimson robes billowed in the wind, her dark hair flying wildly as she stood atop the heavenly revelation immortal gate, the strongest of the four immortal gates. She swiftly retreated into the Fusang divine tree's light and shadow, finally blocking the five elements' absolute domain and the laws from corroding her physical body. The demon monarch had launched his attack precisely at her weakness. Zhenhai Guanwu was a heavenly emperor who had clawed her way out of countless desperate situations. As the leader of the rebel army, she had stormed the Thundercloud sect and entered Xuanhuan. She had survived 100 battles, faced countless life and death dangers, and overcome 1,000 impossibilities. Undaunted by the crisis, her phoenix eyes locked onto the demon monarch as she activated the cloud concealment immortal gate, summoning it to suppress the ground below. Instantly, the multicolored earth was blanketed by a sea of white clouds. The star immortal gate soared into the sky, piercing through the dark clouds. Starlight cascaded across the battlefield like an eternal rain of shattered gold. She intended to shatter the five elements' absolute domain with this celestial attack. Whoosh! Behind the demon monarch, the supreme artifact, the five elements reverse wheel, slowly rose from the opposite side of the mountain range. Like a radiant sun, it transformed the nether darkness of the night sky above the Sword Dao imperial city, thousands of miles away, into the bright light of morning. Five springs hovered in the cardinal directions of the five elements reverse wheel, glowing crimson, azure, yellow, white, and black. These were the five springs left behind by Demon Emperor Yu-Tu after his death, capable of channeling the five elements' spiritual power. It was through the five elements reverse wheel and these five springs that the demon monarch had seized control of the Xuanhuan realm profound infant cultivated by the demon emperor, achieving a breakthrough to become the martial Dao heavenly emperor in a single stroke. The five elements reverse wheel spun wildly, unleashing a storm of supreme artifact power that shattered the formation laid by Zhenhai Guanwu into fragments. This supreme artifact was powered by 14 spiritual qi springs, the 9 springs combined with the 5 springs. 14 streams of spiritual qi cascaded across the horizon, creating a scene of boundless mystical grandeur. Whoosh! The five elements reverse wheel hurtled toward Tang Shituo and Li Wei, piercing through layer after layer of spatial barriers conjured by the 100 Hells wind chime as easily as tearing through sheets of paper. The demon monarch was acutely aware of his deteriorating condition. Each strike cost him dearly in blood qi and lifespan, drawing him closer to death. He had no intention of engaging in a desperate battle with Zhenhai Guanwu. His risky departure from Xiaoyao capital was solely to capture Li Wei and force Yu Yaozi to surrender the life-preserving spring. Perhaps, he might even obtain the life spring. But now, with the emergence of Zhenhai Guanwu and the Fusang divine tree's light and shadow, he had a new idea. Zhenhai Guanwu's ability to reincarnate and rebuild her cultivation might be connected to the secret within Li Wei. If he could seize this secret, it would be far more valuable to him, with his dwindling lifespan, than both the life-preserving spring and the life spring combined. Regardless, he had to gamble on this. Zhenhai Guanwu's arms, slender as jade, moved with graceful fluidity as she cast her spell. The Fusang divine tree's light and shadow transformed into a massive cosmic talisman, soaring toward the five elements reverse wheel. The heavenly revelation immortal gate followed closely behind, colliding with the five elements reverse wheel as it pierced through the talisman. Boom! The impact was like two divine mountains of metal crashing together, the shockwaves and qi shattering the surrounding peaks into rubble. A radiant glow erupted from Zhenhai Guanwu's brow, enveloping her delicate frame in spiritual light. She crashed to the ground, her legs bent like a drawn bow. Her right hand formed a mudra, summoning the 100 Hells wind chime, which flew out creating a spatial barrier, blocking the demon monarch's path. Zhenhai Guanwu, although you have reclaimed your psychic emperor realm cultivation, how much preparation could you have made in just a few years? A true psychic emperor master requires 1,000 years of preparation to stand as an equal to the martial Dao heavenly emperor. The demon monarch's true form materialized, his malevolent aura soaring to the heavens like an ancient demon god reborn. His mouth gaped wide enough to devour the sky and earth, and his double pupils burned like twin divine furnaces. With a single finger, he struck the towering spatial barrier that stretched across the horizon. The air crackled and shattered like splintering ice, fissures spreading across the spatial barrier. Formations and talismans capable of countering the martial Dao Heavenly Emperor required not only rare and precious materials, scavenged from the most dangerous corners of the world, but also vast amounts of time to carve and refine. The more preparations made, the greater the advantage. A truly ancient being, reaching the level of the Zongsheng Academy's Psychic Emperor Master, could make even the Holy Emperor wary. Tiān, Zongsheng Academy's Psychic Emperor Master was previously translated as Zongsheng Academy's Emperor's Consciousness. Both translations are correct. Whoosh. Zhenhai Guanwu's expression turned solemn as her jade fingers traced a circle in the void, forming a temporary spatial formation. This teleported the demon monarch, who had closed the distance, back to the mountain range 100 miles away. Having anticipated the demon monarch's intentions, she had been intercepting him all along. At the edge of the distant battlefield, Tang Shituo, Shui Qianshu, Cheng Dun, and the others watched with bated breath. The situation had been dangerous. In her current weakened state, if the Mist Heavenly Emperor had taken a direct hit from the demon monarch, the consequences would have been catastrophic. They realized the Mist Heavenly Emperor had a fatal weakness. Her attacks struggled to penetrate the demon monarch's protective treasures, yet a single strike from the demon monarch could severely wound her, leading to a crushing defeat. Tang Shituo glanced at Li Wei beside him, recognizing him as another vulnerability the Mist Heavenly Emperor had to protect, a prime target for the demon monarch. He then looked into the endless darkness behind them, sensing vague figures lurking within. Taking Li Wei away might prove even more dangerous. Here they come again. Shui Qianshu shouted, drawing his bow and unleashing all his strength to fire an ancient immortal sentinel arrow. Unfortunately, the distance was too great to lock onto the demon monarch, rendering the arrow ineffective as a deterrent. While they could have swarmed the demon monarch to relieve the Mist Heavenly Emperor, none dared to undertake such a suicidal mission except Tang Shituo. The cost was simply too high. Ultimately, they were too far removed from this conflict to risk their lives. Demon monarch, Yu Yaozi's voice boomed across the battlefield, preceding her arrival. Yu Daojun and Yu Daoshan have sent this emperor to send you on your way. The talents of the demon kingdom have long awaited a new ruler. The horizon transformed into a glazed spectacle as countless spiritual light phoenixes, each spanning tens of miles, materialized like a gathering of divine birds, instantly engulfing the entire battlefield. Yu Yaozi, clad in white soft armor and wielding the Void Enlightenment sword, tore through the void with a single strike, piercing the demon monarch's protective demonic chi and closing in for close quarters combat. Boom. To all observers, Yu Yaozi crashed into the demon monarch like a meteor striking the earth. Activating the full power of her supreme artifact, she slashed her sword horizontally. The Nether River erupted through the sky, plunging into the earth and shattering the world's foundations. Even the demon monarch was forced to retreat 30 miles to evade the onslaught. He then seized the Five Elements reverse wheel, shattered the Nether River, and slammed it against the Void Enlightenment sword. Clang! The Five Elements reverse wheel erupted with 5 concentric rings of artifact inscriptions and surging chi, forcing Yu Yaozi back. Blood streamed from her sword-wielding hand and arm, yet she remained unfazed. With a flick of her wrist, her injuries instantly healed. This was the fundamental difference between Yu Yaozi and the Mist Heavenly Emperor. The Mist Heavenly Emperor had constantly evaded, terrified of being touched by the demon monarch's power. Yu Yaozi, however, showed no such fear. Her physical body was formidable, her chi boundless, her battle intent overwhelming, and her martial spirit far surpassed that of the aging demon monarch. Yu Yaozi's arrival intensified the demon monarch's desperation to escape. Yet he remained unwilling to abandon his pursuit of Li Wei. Yu Baxian, even Chong Yulu has betrayed you. You are utterly alone now, Yu Yaozi taunted, activating the Thunder Tribulation bracelet to pierce through the earth and force the demon monarch, who had been attempting to flee underground, back into the open sky. You have spent your life manipulating power and hearts. Now, in your twilight years, you are destined to be consumed by the karmic consequences of your past sins, Yu Yaozi declared, her sword flashing as she charged forward, denying the demon monarch any chance to reach Tang Shituo and Li Wei. She unleashed a sea-splitting slash. Another clash of raw power. Yu Yaozi was sent flying backward, while the demon monarch, though gaining the upper hand, felt his blood chi falter, leaving him weakened. You cannot escape. Heaven and earth are sealed by the 100 hells wind chime. You, the mighty demon monarch, have stooped to targeting the heavens chosen of the major powers. Their patience has reached its limit. This time, no emperor will intervene to mediate. Everyone wishes for your swift demise. The onlookers were puzzled. The Grand Palace Master had always been as cold as ice, rarely speaking during battles. Yet today, she was deliberately striking at the demon monarch's weak points, her words sharper than any blade. How could a dying old man possibly endure such torment? Even if the demon monarch were to perish here tonight, at least half of his death would be due to sheer rage. The human race's leaders must remain united, this was an inviolable principle. Even with disagreements and power struggles, they were expected to exercise restraint whenever possible. Take Yu Yaozi and the Sword Emperor, for example. Both had shown restraint and made concessions to prevent matters from escalating further. Even the Holy Dynasty, with its overwhelming military superiority, required numerous justifications and moral high ground before daring to launch an invasion of the wolf sovereign wilderness. The human race's leaders had always tolerated the demon monarch. Had he come to visit the Sword Dao imperial city and been attacked by the Grand Palace Master and the Mist Heavenly Emperor, the Sword Emperor, however reluctant, would have intervened to mediate. But tonight, the Sword Emperor remained silent. The demon monarch had forfeited all moral standing, leaving him no grounds to intervene. Well, that saves him some of the trouble. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 7, The Struggle for a Mortal Realm. Chapter 178, 853, Farewell to the Demon Monarch. 178th of Volume 7. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. You Baxian, who told you I wasn't prepared? Who said an Emperor Realm Psychic Master needs 1,000 years of preparation? Zhenhai Guanwu stood atop the Heavenly Revelation Immortal Gate, holding the 9 Sovereigns banner borrowed from Li Yuange. The 9 skull heads at the banner's peak, activated by the spiritual light of Emperor Psychic Master, emitted 9 earth-shattering imperial sounds. Legend claimed this banner was forged by the Zhu Li gods using the skulls of 9 martial mystic Dao heavenly emperors. The mysterious inscriptions on the 9 white streamers hanging from the skulls' mouths were the 9 ancient runes. In Zhenhai Guanwu's hands, the 9 sovereigns' banner transformed into a colossal banner 100 meters tall. As the 9 streamers billowed, vast quantities of white snow-congealed spirit money fluttered down from the sky. The blood qi exhaled by the 9 skulls enveloped Zhenhai Guanwu. Within this dense blood qi, 9 massive and grotesque otherworldly coffins materialized around Zhenhai Guanwu, suspended in the void. Boom. Boom. The coffin lids flew open, and 9 headless corpses of ancient heavenly emperors, their death qi soaring to the heavens and corrupting the earth, emerged from the coffins. Each corpse wielded a weapon, their feet treading the blood river as they advanced toward the demon monarch from 9 directions. The scene was terrifying beyond words, something only glimpsed in the ancient forbidden zones of the nether realm of the dead, and utterly out of place in the human race's life realm. So this is it. The true power of the 9 sovereigns' banner. Are these the bodies of the 9 heads? Shui Qianshu murmured, his breath catching in his throat as he stared at the blood mist-shrouded, eerie landscape before him. He had seen the 9 sovereigns' banner before. But it was clear that only when combined with the 9 headless corpses of ancient heavenly emperors did it achieve its complete form. Cheng Dun, a man of vast experience, gazed at the 9 white banners suspended in midair. Those must be the 9 ancient runes controlling the 9 sovereigns' banner, imbued with spatial properties. The one who forged this banner was no ordinary being. The Zhu Li clan never produced a martial Dao heavenly emperor or an emperor psychic master, so they couldn't unleash the banner's true power. But in the hands of the mist heavenly emperor, it's a different story. The demon monarch won't escape this time, Tang Shituo declared. Li Wei pondered silently. These 9 headless corpses of ancient heavenly emperors might be the rare treasures old Li had mentioned, sealed within the ancestral mountains of the 9 great tribes. Overlord Immortal Demon Venerable Avatar. The demon monarch crossed his arms over his chest, his aged body erupting with earth-shattering demonic might. Behind him, a colossal phantom of an ancient demon materialized, its form blurred by the decay of blood qi. The demon monarch held aloft his second supreme artifact, the 9 hell soul-suppressing pagoda, its surface ablaze with blazing flame. Each of the pagoda's 9 layers housed a different emotional power: wrath, malevolent thought, despair, greed, selfishness. These 9 forces could shatter the mind and distort consciousness. The demon monarch royal clan's imperial technique, the 9-layered demonic pagoda heaven-piercing technique, was created based on this artifact. The royal clan's 9 myriad inscriptions artifact demon towers were mere imitations of it. In essence, the 9 hell soul-suppressing pagoda represented the demon kingdom's most quintessential war artifact. The demon monarch can still manifest the overlord immortal demon venerable avatar. No wonder Yu Daojun has hesitated to act, waiting for him to weaken further, a transcendence from the Calamity Crossing Temple mused thoughtfully. The Calamity Crossing Temple and the Demon Kingdom shared a common origin in the cultivation methods of the Void Ruins Empress, forming 2 branches from the same source. Yu Yaozi's expression turned solemn as she chanted the word, fight. With a sweeping gesture, she drew down the glazed light sea from the sky, along with countless flame phoenixes, condensing them into a crystalline glazed spiritual light armor that enveloped her body. Psychic martial fusion. She too unleashed a technique similar to the demon sovereign avatar, summoning 2 towering figures behind her. One radiated nether light, while the other blazed with boundless Buddhist light. Her weapon was the Thunder Tribulation Bracelet. Boom. Thunder and lightning, along with demonic fiend Qi, erupted outward, shattering mountains and collapsing the earth. The transcendents at the edge of the battlefield retreated again, yet the aftershocks of the clash between the martial Dao heavenly emperors still churned their Qi and blood. Crack! A faint, crisp sound echoed through the air. Cracks appeared on the arms of the colossal demonic sovereign avatar. The demon monarch's aged face flushed an unnatural crimson. Staggering backward, blood trickled from his lips as he was pummeled by the combined attack of the Grand Palace Master and Zhenhai Guanwu. A portion of the demonic sovereign avatar above his head shattered. Yu Yaozi, who stood closest, was blasted away, her glazed spiritual light armor shattering. She crashed down beneath Zhenhai Guanwu and the Nine Sovereigns' banner, her face pale. Even enduring a direct clash with a powerhouse like the demon monarch took its toll, yet her gaze remained sharp as a sword. The demon monarch surveyed his surroundings, his eyes landing on the 9 headless corpses of ancient heavenly emperors now standing upright. A flicker of desolate sorrow crossed his face. He knew all too well that Yu Daojun, Empress Cao, Yu Daoshan, Chong Yulu, and other demon kingdom powerhouses were undoubtedly lurking nearby, yet none had come to aid him in his predicament. The realization stung deeply. In the Sword Dao Imperial City, the Sword Emperor sighed, Yu Baxian, the heroic overlord immortal, has reached his end. The Sword Emperor's sigh was genuine, for he knew that one day he too would grow old and be unwilling to accept his demise, unwilling to see a lifetime of martial Dao cultivation reduced to nothingness. Abandoned by all and facing certain death, the demon monarch seemed to have finally reconciled with himself. His stubbornness and resentment had dissolved into an eerie calm. Zhenhai Guanwu, Huang Yuyao, today I am defeated. I sought to seize the fates of others to alter my own destiny, but my efforts have come to naught. Yet this does not mean you have won. There is another kind of defeat, one where both sides perish. The fall of the martial Dao heavenly emperor cannot go unnoticed. My son Daojun, I have cleared away your strongest enemies. From now on, the demon kingdom is yours. With my withered body, I shall offer a sacrifice to the demonic path. May the 5 elements reverse, annihilating all living beings. The demon monarch withdrew the 5 elements reverse wheel, the 5 springs, and the 5 elements absolute domain into his ancestral field. As the 5 elements power reversed, his body erupted in a dazzling 5-colored radiance. His aged frame straightened rapidly, restoring him to his prime. His aura grew increasingly formidable, and 5 flames blazed around him. The 9 hells soul-suppressing pagoda soared into the air, transforming into a colossal divine peak. You think you can take us all down with you? It won't be that easy. Zhenhai Guanwu activated 4 immortal gates, sealing Yu Baxian from all directions. The 100 hells wind chime descended from the sky. With each chime, a layer of spatial barriers pressed down from above. What are you waiting for? Let's send the demon monarch on his way together. Yu Yaozi first unleashed the Thunder Tribulation Bracelet, then wielded the Void Enlightenment Sword, piercing through the void toward the demon monarch's ancestral field. The sword's tip erupted with the shockwave of the spatial sword energy, disrupting the demon monarch's ancestral field and shattering his protective treasures one by one. Farewell, demon monarch. Cheng Dun cast pages from the earthly tome, the characters imprinting themselves on the ground while azure cloud hovered in the void. Farewell, demon monarch. Shui Qianshu accepted the evil camel bell from Li Wei and, together with 2 others behind him, activated it, transforming it into a nethermist world that pressed down from above. Farewell, demon monarch. The remaining transcendents followed suit, unleashing their spiritual artifacts. Now that the outcome was certain, they no longer hesitated to join forces with Lingxiao Palace to eliminate Yu Baxian. Moreover, in his current frenzied state, Yu Baxian might well drag them down with him if he broke free. Tang Shituo remained vigilant, activating the immortal slaying sword and guarding against the darkness, wary of a potential attack from Demon Kingdom forces. Time ticked by, each second stretching into an eternity. The 5-colored realm, suppressed by supreme artifacts, flickered erratically, its deafening roars echoing for thousands of miles. Li Wei and the other young cultivators were on the verge of collapse, holding their breath in terror. How long had passed? It felt like an instant, yet also like years. Gradually, the suppressed region dimmed. Then, with a blinding flash, all the supreme artifacts were hurled away. Zhenhai Guanwu and Yu Yaozi, both severely injured, were sent flying backward, crashing into the earth with such force that fissures spread across the land, reaching the outskirts of Sword Dao Imperial City. Before Li Wei, the transcendents who had suffered the backlash sat cross-legged, blood streaming from their 7 orifices. Tang Shituo braced his sword, conjuring an inscription-infused cloud barrier that shielded the young cultivators from harm. Whoosh! At the heart of the battlefield, radiant orbs of light in various colors scattered like shooting stars, vanishing into the night sky. Li Wei's brow flickered. He prepared to activate the Dao Ancestors' Tai Chi fish to escape the moment Zhenhai Guanwu and Yu Yaozi returned. But when he scanned the battlefield, it was utterly empty. The demon monarch was nowhere to be seen. Only a shattered, cratered wasteland remained, choked with dust, mountains collapsed, and the earth split open, a scene of utter devastation. Where's the demon monarch? Li Wei asked. Tang Shituo lowered his horizontal sword, planting it vertically into the ground. His tense muscles relaxed as he sighed deeply. If the demon monarch had broken through the suppression of those supreme artifacts, the Mist Heavenly Emperor and the Grand Palace Master would have been in grave danger, and most of us would likely have perished. But he failed to break through, was suppressed, and naturally met his end. Then what was that just now? Li Wei asked, exhaling in relief. Tang Shituo explained, it was the profound infant Cephal-destructed. His body transformed into 5 elements heavenly core, which scattered across the battlefield. This was the only way he could transmit his power to Yudaojun. In his final moments, all worldly thoughts vanished, and his true nature returned. He must have felt paternal affection. Now, the Demon Kingdom's elites are likely scouring the land to collect these 5 elements heavenly cores. The transcendents from the surrounding major powers, having suppressed their injuries, immediately bid farewell to the Zhen Hai Guanwu and the Grand Palace Master. They led their juniors into the darkness, eager to claim a share of the 5 elements heavenly cores. Li Wei, who planned to condense the Nirvana heavenly core using the 5 elements laws, was naturally interested in the demon monarch's remains. However, he knew his limitations and understood the dangers of this night. Tang Shituo led Li Wei, Tang Wanzhou, Tang Wanqiu, and the others toward the Zhen Hai Guanwu and the Grand Palace Master, who were still recovering from their injuries. Suddenly, Tang Shituo's eyes narrowed sharply. At the edge of the shattered earth, a beautiful, graceful figure had appeared. The heavenly demon empress stood proudly at the edge of the shattered cliff, 4 wings sprouting from her back and 6 pupils in her eyes. She picked up the 9 hells soul-suppressing pagoda and exclaimed with a mocking laugh, magnificent. Utterly magnificent. The human martial Dao heavenly emperor fighting among themselves, the demon monarch slain, what a splendid start for the world's living beings, a truly exemplary precedent. The nether realm of the dead must be thanking you, wouldn't you think? But you failed to conceal your true power. Exposing it all at once like this. Isn't that just courting death? Zhen Hai Guanwu and Yu Yaozi, clad in red robes and white armor, rose in unison, gripping their banner staffs and sword hilts, their gazes fixed on the darkness behind the heavenly demon empress as if facing a formidable enemy. The realm there was many times darker than the deepest night. A soul-shattering aura of oppressive power suddenly erupted. Boom. Caught completely off guard, Tang Shituo was forced to kneel on one knee by the sudden surge of the demon emperor's might, unable to rise. The immortal slaying sword barely supported his weight, his arm trembling violently. Li Wei, Tang Wanzhou, and the other younger disciples all collapsed to the ground, blood streaming from their 7 orifices. Only Li Wei remained conscious, the rest had fainted. With his face pressed against the ground, Li Wei couldn't lift his head, but he could still see Zhen Hai Guanwu and Yu Yaozi in the distance. Their robes, cloaks, and long hair billowed backward in the gale of oppressive blue demonic qi. From the darkness behind the heavenly demon empress, a colossal demonic shadow with bull-like horns emerged, its form stretching across the earth and into the starry sky. 7 flood dragons coiled around its massive body, their earth-shattering roars shaking the heavens. Demon clouds blanketed at least 10 provinces of the Sword Dao Imperial Court. In the Sword Dao Imperial City, the Sword Emperor's face was etched with shock as his eyes blazed with searing light. The strongest demon of southern Yingzhou, the Kui Qing Demon Emperor. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Melworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 7, The Struggle for Immortal Realm. Chapter 179, 854, The True Spirit Sect. 179th of Volume 7. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The human and demon races had forged an alliance to confront the existential threat from the nether realm of the dead. Their leaders, barring any egregious violations of established boundaries, would refrain from initiating hostilities. It was precisely this fragile truce that made the simultaneous appearance of the heavenly demon empress and the Kui Qing demon emperor above the Sword Dao Imperial City all the more shocking. Even the powerful cultivators who were pursuing and searching for the demon lord's 5 elements heavenly core under the night sky turned their gazes toward the looming demon cloud, their expressions shifting with alarm as they sensed an earth-shattering event was about to unfold. They knew well that beings like the Kui Qing demon emperor would not reveal themselves lightly. His arrival, marked by the release of a demon cloud and imperial might, clearly signaled that he had not come to pay a friendly visit to the human race's life realm. Cheng Dun, leading the young cultivators from Zhongsheng Academy, Mo Kui, Kong Chengren, Meng Kui, and others, halted in their tracks, staring up at the eerily blue-green sky. He held his breath abruptly. The demon cloud surged forward, its imperial might overwhelming. Cheng Dun's brow furrowed with deep concern. The demon monarch, senile and delusional in his twilight years, has plunged the demon kingdom and surrounding life realms into years of turmoil, causing countless deaths and nearly triggering a catastrophic disaster in the southwest. Many human experts perished in the war to subdue him, but the benefits of his defeat outweighed the costs, and the human race's leaders tacitly approved. However, the appearance of the Kui Qing Demon Emperor and the Heavenly Demon Empress now threatens to unleash true chaos across southern Yingzhou. A single misstep could plunge us into a world-destroying calamity. Could this truly trigger such a cataclysm? Is Master exaggerating? Kong Chengren asked. Cheng Dun pinched his fingers together, secretly calculating, and shook his head gently. By choosing to travel here and unleash the Demon Cloud Emperor's might, the Demon Emperor has made his intentions clear. He is telling everyone that he will not rest until his goals are achieved today, leaving himself no room for retreat. This point was understood by all the heavens chosen present. Private meetings or messages conveyed through envoys would have allowed for negotiation, leaving room for both sides to back down. Cheng Dun, having guessed the reason for Kui Qing Demon Emperor's arrival, sighed. But neither the Mist Heavenly Emperor nor the Grand Palace Master seem willing to yield. With no possibility of compromise, the consequences are unpredictable. If the Human-Demon Alliance covenant is broken and the war escalates, how could the Tiān sect resist secretly fanning the flames? How could the Nether Realm of the Dead miss such an opportunity to act? Alas, the struggle for the Emperor's throne brings only devastation to the living. Let's go, quickly. The further we are from this, the better. Beneath the star observation platform, the assembled powerhouses of the Sword Dao Imperial Court gradually recovered from their shock. The old ancestor of the Bai clan appeared behind the Sword Emperor, his eyes glowing with divine light as he peered at the terrifying demonic silhouette looming on the horizon. Your Majesty, he said, it seems Heavenly Demon Empress Tiān didn't reveal all her secrets. The fact that she could draw the Kui Qing Demon Emperor here suggests that Junior surnamed Li possesses an extraordinary treasure. This makes things difficult for us. Indeed, it was a dire situation. How could the Sword Emperor maintain his authority if he continued to turn a blind eye to events unfolding right on the outskirts of the Sword Dao Imperial City? White paper money danced across the sky, rustling like 1,000 whispers. 9 headless corpses of ancient heavenly emperors stood beneath the 9 sovereigns' banner. Zhenhai Guanwu unleashed spiritual light imbued with divine aura, shielding Tang Shituo, Li Wei, and the others behind her from the oppressive demonic qi and imperial might. Her eyes remained fixed on the heavenly demon empress, even as she searched for the true location of the Kui Qing demon emperor. Judging by your words, heavenly demon empress, do you intend to kill us tonight? To slay the human emperor within the human race's life realm? That depends on whether you recognize the times. Hand over the murderer, and I will spare your lives today. Heavenly demon empress's gaze shifted to Li Wei and Tang Shituo, who were slowly rising to their feet behind Zhenhai Guanwu. The demon emperor and Tai Sui share a bond of master-disciple. Upon learning of his grandson Tai Sui's tragic death within the human race's life realm, the demon emperor commanded me to demand justice. Alas, some truths cannot be spoken, only to provoke the human emperor to invade the great wilderness demon plains and slay 3 of our demon kings. The demon emperor's holy embryo has perished, 3 demon kings have fallen. Since you refuse to offer an explanation, the demon emperor himself must come to claim it. Yu Yaozi brandished the void enlightenment sword, her body radiating netherlight and Buddhist light that split the heavens and earth. Laws of existence envelop the world like an all-encompassing shroud. Yu Tiān, I have no desire to waste words on you. To do so would be to stoop to your level of foolishness. You merely seek a pretext to seize these people. But today, you will take no one. Mist Master, I will test the demon emperor's 30,000 years of cultivation. Take the others and leave first. Yu Yao, you're half right and half wrong. It's true they can't take anyone, but if we're leaving together. Beneath Zhenhai Guanwu's feet, luminous traces swirled and converged, forming a space teleportation formation. The air shimmered with spatial vibrations as she and Yu Yaozi retreated toward Tang Shituo and Li Wei. In terms of spatial mastery, she was the foremost expert in southern Yingzhou. Zhenhai Guanwu knew the Kui Qing demon emperor's power well, giving her only a 30% chance of escaping through spatial teleportation. The Dao ancestors' Tai Chi fish on Li Wei's chest remained their most crucial means of escape. The greatest uncertainty lay in what secrets the heavenly demon empress had uncovered about Li Wei, and whether the Kui Qing demon emperor might retreat. If he truly disregarded all consequences, that would spell disaster. Even if she, Yu Yaozi, Li Wei, and the others fled to Tanggu Sea, they would leave behind a catastrophic mess, shattering all their painstakingly laid plans. Li Wei wiped the blood from his lips, his gaze sharpening. Before he could even activate his spiritual light, the Dao ancestors' Tai Chi fish on his chest began to stir, radiating a gentle warmth. At that moment, a bizarre tearing sound erupted from behind them. It was deafening, like the sky collapsing or the great Dao shattering. A melodious voice followed closely on the heels of the tearing sound. I have long admired the Mist Heavenly Emperor's mastery of spatial techniques, particularly your skill in teleportation. No one has ever been able to detain you. I have long desired to spar with you, but alas, I have never caught a glimpse of your elusive form. I implore you, Mist Heavenly Emperor, to stay a while longer. Do not be in such haste to depart. Li Wei, Zhenhai Guanwu, and Tang Shituo turned as one, their pupils contracting sharply at the awe-inspiring sight before them. Above the mountain peaks, the night sky and spatial fabric had been torn asunder by an unknown force, resembling a shattered celestial gate. From behind this rift, dark arcane energy surged forth like viscous ink, instantly filling the mountain ravines and spreading toward them. The voice's sonic waves carried a spatial vibration force that shattered the ground beneath Zhenhai Guanwu's feet and crushed her space teleportation formation into wisps of luminous mist. This sudden turn of events left everyone bewildered. Though the voice sounded refined and courteous, its underlying arrogance was unmistakable. The unspoken message was clear. The speaker intended to detain Zhenhai Guanwu. Who are you, esteemed one? Zhenhai Guanwu asked, standing just a step away from Li Wei. How is it that this emperor has never heard of such a figure in southern Yingzhou? This exchange revealed the terrifying power of their opponent, forcing Zhenhai Guanwu to consider immediate retreat to the Tanggu Sea. Au! Roar! From the vast spatial rift, a grotesque creature with pale, ashen skin crawled forth. Its heavy footsteps shook the ground. Emaciated to the point of being little more than skin stretched over bone, the creature was colossal, dwarfing even the surrounding mountains. Half its body remained submerged in dark arcane energy. Slender and elongated, it resembled a gaunt, crawling human, with a third eye embedded in its forehead and razor-sharp, saw-like teeth. Its claws were silver and razor-sharp. Though saturated with death chi, it didn't seem to be a dead spirit. More like a dark true spirit. Yet this being dwarfed the dark true spirits summoned by the sacred dark family by countless times in size and possessed an overwhelmingly profound aura. Under the gaze of its third eye, even Tang Shituo, with his formidable cultivation, felt a momentary wave of darkness wash over him. Then came the second and third. Witnessing these three monstrous behemoths, even Heavenly Demon Empress in the distance and the Sword Emperor and his retinue within the city grew solemn. Behind the three colossal creatures, a dark purple figure, the size of a normal human, emerged step by step from a spatial rift. Hooded and with its face obscured by shadows, it carried an ancient leather scroll. Its voice remained faint and ethereal. Our sect worships the true Spirit Lord and has always walked in darkness. But with the demon monarch's fall, the demon kingdom will inevitably undergo a massive transformation. Our sect intends to replace the demon kingdom, helping its people quickly stabilize and avoid war, suffering, and slaughter. We will spread the true spirit teachings and establish the ancient sect's holy temple. My name is Kong Yin, a venerable of the true spirit sect, tasked with spreading its doctrines. It is my honor to meet you all. Zhenhai Guanwu had never heard of the true spirit sect before. She turned to Yu Yaozi, assuming it was an ancient sect that had recently emerged within the past millennium. Yu Yaozi shook her head. She too had never encountered this sect before today. The Sword Emperor, standing atop a surging tide of sword chi, appeared on the opposite horizon. The sword light beneath his feet illuminated the sky. A true spirit sect, you say? Even this old one has never heard of you. May I ask, are you familiar with the Demon Kingdom's sacred dark family? Anyone would naturally associate them with the sacred dark family. Venerable Kong Yin replied calmly, light shines across the earth, yet darkness claims its equal share. The true Spirit Lord's followers are scattered throughout Yingzhou, so their presence here should come as no surprise. The answer seemed to address the question, but in reality, it revealed nothing. May I ask, Venerable Kong Yin, what is the purpose of your visit? Yu Yaozi inquired. Venerable Kong Yin bowed to the assembled crowd. Tonight, the True Spirit sect has two objectives. First, we seek to establish our sect in southern Yingzhou and naturally require the consent of all martial Dao Heavenly Emperors, Demon Emperors, and Demon Empresses. You are quite sensible, Heavenly Demon Empress chuckled, the Kui Qing Demon Emperor standing imposingly behind her, making her fearless of all beneath the heavens. Venerable Kong Yin continued, second, since we intend to establish our sect on the former territory of the Demon Kingdom and have its people worship our sect and be grateful to the True Spirit Lord, we must first avenge the Demon Monarch. We will dye the True Spirit sect's banner with the blood of his murderer. These words struck like a thunderclap from a clear sky. This was far more aggressive and domineering than even Heavenly Demon Empress and the Kui Qing Demon Emperor. The man spoke with impeccable manners and refined elegance, yet his words carried the most brutal and terrifying intent. The Sword Emperor hesitated to respond, unsure of the True Spirit sect's true strength. How else could they dare to sacrifice Zhenhai Guanwu and Yu Yaozi to raise their banner? His mind raced with possibilities. He suspected the True Spirit sect's motives went far beyond simply establishing a sect. There must be deeper, hidden purposes at play. For the immortal Dao Dragon Meridian of the East Sea. The Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom. Or the junior surnamed Li. After a brief silence, Heavenly Demon Empress smiled radiantly. Your sect truly possesses remarkable ambition. If you genuinely have the power to kill them both, you would naturally replace their influence among the human race in southern Yingzhou. This Empress supports you. Boom. Behind Heavenly Demon Empress, the colossal demon shadow with bull-like horns took a step forward. This emperor has no interest in your internal human race conflicts. But no one shall take what belongs to this emperor. Instantly, a surging demon cloud engulfed the spiritual light ocean of Zhenhai Guanwu, crashing toward the three distant dark true spirits and the spatial rift. This was a display of authority and power, a preemptive declaration of their interests. The three dark true spirits roared incessantly, forced to retreat repeatedly by the demon cloud's onslaught. Cracks spider-webbed across the surrounding mountain peaks, threatening to crumble. Venerable Kong Yin, his features obscured, waved his hand lightly. Instantly, dark radiance stabilized the surrounding mountains, suppressed the spatial vibrations, and devoured all traces of demonic qi. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 7. The Struggle for Immortal Realm. Chapter 180, 855. The Bronze Warship returns to Yingzhou. 180th of Volume 7. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Zhenhai Guanwu, having attained an extraordinary level of cultivation, possessed exceptional insight. Her gaze, piercing and solemn, penetrated Venerable Kong Yin's depths. If a mere sect venerable possesses such power, the true spirit sect's ambitions must extend far beyond a single demon kingdom. If you succeed in establishing your sect and gaining a foothold there, southern Yingzhou will soon be under your control. Her words were a warning to Sword Emperor and the others, emphasizing the enemy's mysterious origins and boundless ambition. If they failed to suppress this threat now, the various life realms of southern Yingzhou would likely suffer the same fate. Yu Yaozi's crimson lips curved like cinnabar, her eyes as cold as frost. Claiming to avenge the demon monarch is merely a pretext. What is your true purpose? Light grants form, while darkness imbues souls with weight and depth. All things are born from the intertwined ripples of light and darkness. To pursue only light is to render life as thin as paper. Our sect will guide all believers of the true Spirit Lord into the depths of life's darkness, confronting their innermost fears, loneliness, regrets, and the contemplation of their own mortality. Venerable Kong Yin chanted inscriptions as he advanced step by step, carrying an ancient leather scroll. The space before him cracked and fractured, the fissures spreading toward Zhenhai Guanwu and Yu Yaozi. The earth crumbled, and darkness poured forth from the spatial rifts on all sides. Let's go. Escape to Tanggu Sea, Zhenhai Guanwu urged Li Wei, her expression darkening. We can't escape. Li Wei replied, channeling his spiritual light to activate the Dao ancestors' Tai Chi fish. Although the Tai Chi fish spun, it failed to open a spatial passage, only growing increasingly scorching. Zhenhai Guanwu released her own spiritual light to aid him, while simultaneously waving the Nine Sovereigns banner. 9 headless corpses of ancient heavenly emperors, shrouded in blood mist, strode forward, crossing the dark arcane energy cloud mist to attack Venerable Kong Yin. Boom. Boom. Venerable Kong Yin unleashed a palm strike from afar, dark inscriptions flickering around him. The bones of the 9 headless corpses cracked and shattered, exploding into fragments. Yu Yaozi slashed her sword through the air, cleaving through the surging dark arcane energy. Seizing the opportunity, Zhenhai Guanwu channeled all her strength into activating the 9 Sovereigns banner. The mystical inscriptions on the 9 white banners detached and coalesced within the swirling blood mist, forming a spatial pathway. With a surge of spiritual light, she gathered the group and plunged into the spatial pathway, fleeing southward. Mist Heavenly Emperor, please stay and impart your wisdom on spatial laws. Boom. Venerable Kong Yin intercepted them at the entrance to the spatial pathway, raising the ancient leather scroll in his hand. From the scroll, arcane dark secret inscriptions erupted, shattering the spatial pathway created by the 9 Sovereigns banner inch by inch. Go first, Zhenhai Guanwu urged. Escape this area, and perhaps you can activate the Dao ancestors' Tai Chi fish. She believed the Tai Chi fish remained dormant due to the enemy's spatial suppression. Stepping forward to shield the group, she waved her hand, unleashing the 100 Hells wind chime. The wind chime swayed, its melodious tones manifesting spatial realms that collided with the onrushing dark secret scriptures, their structures fracturing under the attack. The dark secret scriptures were about to strike Zhenhai Guanwu directly. Whoosh! Yu Yaozi unleashed the Thunder Remnant Annihilation Strike, transforming it into a massive disc dozens of meters in diameter. The disc hovered between her and Zhenhai Guanwu, crackling with dense thunder and lightning. Zhenhai Guanwu glanced at her without a word. Before her, 9 banners fluttered, suspended between heaven and earth, transforming into 9 sacred runes. Even with their combined efforts, they were forced to retreat repeatedly under the relentless pressure. Guardian wife, come out already. I'm begging you this time. Lend me your strength. Just help me activate the Dao Ancestors Tai Chi fish. Li Wei gritted his teeth, his urgency palpable. Clutching the Dao Ancestors Tai Chi fish, he fully unleashed the spiritual light from his brow. He even slashed his wrist, rupturing veins and letting blood spill continuously, desperate to summon his guardian wife. Why can't you activate at this critical moment? Li Wei thought in frustration, scanning his surroundings for guardian wife's figure. Tang Shituo scooped up Li Wei and fled at breakneck speed, heading straight for Sword Dao Imperial City. Their only chance of survival lay within the city walls. The others had already been stowed away in his cosmic pouch. Awoo! A dark true spirit, towering 300 meters tall, crawled rapidly across the ground, spewing dark arcane energy from its maw as it surged past the Sword Emperor in pursuit of Tang Shituo and Li Wei. Giant claw imprints scarred the earth in its wake. Tang Shituo glanced back at the Sword Emperor, bearing no resentment for his master's inaction. After all, their debts had been settled, and the true spirit's overwhelming power and unfathomable depths made them a dangerous enemy to provoke. Yet, this realization brought him a sense of closure, freeing him from any lingering guilt. Perhaps it was best that their master-disciple bond was severed completely. Ahead, the city-protecting formation of Sword Dao Imperial City had activated, layers of shimmering light veils overlapping like celestial silk. Countless battle swords hovered above the city like a river of stars. The city walls bristled with shoulder-armored soldiers and robe-clad psychic masters. Without the Sword Emperor's command, no one dared to open the formation to let them in. Tang Shituo called out once, then abandoned all hope and immediately veered around the city. Awoo! The dark true spirit pursued them, roaring as it unleashed a tidal wave of dark scriptures and malevolent fiends. Its gaunt, gray-white body reared up, towering like a mountain. Its grotesque form sent shivers down the spines of the human race soldiers and psychic masters on the city walls. Even with the city-protecting formation in place, they couldn't help but retreat several steps. Whoosh! Tang Shituo cleaved through the torrent of dark inscriptions with a single sword strike, only to find himself enveloped in a colossal shadow. The leaping dark true spirit had positioned itself directly above him and Li Wei. With a thunderous roar, Tang Shituo's eyes blazed with fierce determination. He hurled Li Wei aside with a palm strike, then, fueled by unwavering resolve, soared into the sky, sword raised, to meet the dark true spirit head-on. Boom! Tang Shituo plummeted back to earth, crashing heavily into the ground. Despite its immense size, the creature moved with surprising agility and possessed an astonishingly resilient physical body. Even the immortal slaying sword, imbued with the power of a supreme artifact, failed to sever its claws upon collision. What kind of monster is this? Had the world underestimated the dark true spirits bred by the sacred dark family all along? Li Wei, transported over 100 miles away by Tang Shituo's Dao technique, made no attempt to flee. Escape was impossible. In the darkness lurked two dark true spirits, Heavenly Demon Empress, and the Kui Qing Demon Emperor. His fingers tightened around the Dao Ancestors Tai Chi fish, his gaze fixed on the ceaselessly rotating yin-yang fish and their fish eyes. He desperately wanted to crush them. In this critical moment, all they did was spin, refusing to activate. What kind of useless artifact had his sect left behind? Sect. A flash of inspiration struck Li Wei. He immediately summoned the yellow dragon sword from his ancestral field and hurled it at Tang Shituo. Lion Taming King, use this sword. Boom. In the southern horizon, massive thunder and lightning erupted, dark clouds racing across the sky. Swoosh. A crimson-black sword light pierced through the clouds, descending from the heavens. It pierced the colossal body of the dark true spirit, tearing through its back and chest before arcing upward into the sky. Tang Shituo stood on the ground, dual swords in hand, panting heavily in the gale as he stared at the terrifying, 800-meter-tall creature before him. With just a single strike, the dark true spirit lost all its frenzied momentum. Its life force rapidly dissipated, and it crashed to the ground with a thunderous roar. The shock in Tang Shituo and Li Wei's hearts was no less than when Venerable Kong Yin of the True Spirit sect had first appeared. Even Tang Shituo, with his formidable cultivation, had been completely overwhelmed. This demonstrated the terrifying power of the dark true spirit. Yet this formidable being had been instantly slain by a sword that descended from beyond the heavens. Who is the one who came? Swish. Blood gushed from the wound on the dark true spirit's back, flowing upward against gravity like crimson streams, drawn toward the massive red and black sword. Li Wei's eyes narrowed as he recognized something familiar about the blade. Meanwhile, within the Sword Dao Imperial City, all the powerful cultivators gazed at the colossal sword suspended in the air, their voices buzzing with speculation about its origins and the identity of the divine being who wielded it. Such a heaven-shattering strike. It must be the Holy Emperor. The Holy Emperor isn't known for his swordsmanship. I think it's more likely to bait a temple master. Perhaps it's His Majesty the Sword Emperor. An even more terrifying event unfolded. The battle swords suspended within the formation above Sword Dao Imperial City, now beyond the control of the city's formation masters, coalesced into a long river of blades that surged out through the formation light veil. Within the city, countless martial mystic cultivators, swords also soared into the sky. Thus, a scene destined to be etched into the memories of every cultivator in Sword Dao Imperial City materialized before their eyes. Tens of thousands of battle swords swirled around a colossal red and black blade in the sky, ceaselessly colliding with it and dissolving into wisps of chi that were absorbed by the giant sword. It's devouring swords. Over 10,000 blades are being consumed every instant. Tang Shituo retreated to Li Wei's side. Even with his cultivation and iron will, he couldn't suppress the trembling of his soul spirit, his grip on the immortal slaying sword and yellow dragon sword nearly failing. If it can absorb blood, it can devour war swords too. What exactly is this thing? Li Wei asked. Tang Shituo shook his head, having never encountered such a terrifying sword artifact. Fortunately, the sword had slain the dark true spirit, suggesting it was more ally than enemy. After consuming every battle sword in the sky, the colossal red and black blade flew toward Tang Shituo and Li Wei, positioning itself behind them. Whoosh! The sword descended, slicing through the earth from north to south, cleaving the two pursuing dark true spirits in half. Their mountain-sized corpses dissolved into a steaming blood mist, every drop of blood absorbed by the sword. This single strike utterly terrified Venerable Kong Yin, the Sword Emperor, Kui Qing Demon Emperor, and Heavenly Demon Empress, who watched from afar. The fighting ceased. Zhenhai Guanwu's skin cracked with bloody fissures, revealing severe injuries. Yet a breathtaking smile bloomed on her exquisite face as she exhaled deeply, gazing south. It's coming. It's finally returning to Yingzhou. Mist Master. Yu Yaozi looked at her, puzzled. Zhenhai Guanwu shook her head gently. Such a complex matter couldn't be explained in a few words. From beyond the southern horizon, a young man's voice echoed, as if carried from the cosmos itself. Master of the Dao ancestors Tai Chi fish, you should come with us. A fierce southern wind swept across prefectures, traversed great rivers, and brushed against the faces of everyone in its path. Across the vast land, transcendence stood in different prefectures, Qian Daojun, Ku Chaozeng, Chongyulu, Chengdun, Shui Qianshu, and countless others. Near the Sword Dao Imperial City, Martial Dao Heavenly Emperor and the myriad cultivators within the Imperial City all gazed toward the horizon. Without a doubt, the massive red and black sword had been unleashed by the entity who had spoken moments before. But who was the master of the Dao ancestors Tai Chi fish? To dare claim the title, Dao Ancestor, implied an origin of unimaginable significance. Whoosh! At the southern horizon, a bronze ship pierced through the clouds, radiating an ancient aura as if it had traversed billions of years of time and space. It soared above the mountain ranges, casting a colossal shadow across the peaks under the starlight. Miles long and impossibly heavy, the ship seemed utterly alien to human craftsmanship. Its oppressive presence forced all who beheld it to recoil, their legs trembling uncontrollably. It's really that sword. Years ago, Li Wei had glimpsed this very sword through the gap between two ancient bronze doors in the archaic architecture at the stern of the bronze ship. It had been plunged into a black and white Tai Chi lake. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.